Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning, Claire Hemming. Morning, Sky Elise. Morning, Brenda, Hazel Caldera, Cadagirl, Good Ship Lollipop, I like your name. Nicholas Sinnott, Claire Yardley Coco, Sally O'Sullivan. Good morning, everyone. Oh, she's off. We're going to have a ban on singing today. Ban. Singing ban. Ban. What part of ban don't you understand?
You do make me laugh when you are being so annoyed. Do you know what you were like last night on that live?
No, but I'm just saying
Did
in the
you
morning.
do
What did
one
we had a
thing?
little
I was
conversation.
just doing quite a hum.
It's not a hum, darling. It's
Wasn't
never
it
a hum. It's never a hum. It's always trauma. It's always traumatic. Birds fall from trees when she sings. Have you noticed that?
Birds are singing so beautifully today.
Birds fall from trees.
How are we all?
Ellery Jones, that was too sickly for my liking.
What?
You're singing.
Sickly?
Yeah. Maybe. Or maybe she's talking about Nutella.
Oh yeah, last night was too
Yeah.
sickly. I did say it was dire.
Yeah.
Tonight it will be a healthier snack if we do a snack tonight. It's going to be a healthier snack.
Hello, Cumbria. So how are we all? How are we all? We good? How are you, Ned? How are
I'm
you feeling?
excited about the undoing.
Yeah, episode 3 of The Undoing tonight on Sky Atlantic. It is good fun. I've got my own theories on The Sun, played by Noah Jupe, but I'll share those later.
And don't forget we're reviewing it afterwards.
Yeah. So, Bethy Kitch, shit. Ooh, that's curious, just one word. I like your emoji, though. I
No,
like
she
your
asked her
emoji.
how she felt.
Oh, I see. Oh, that emoji is great. Where did you get that emoji from? Effie Parveen, morning everyone. Carla Kemp, morning Mark and Nads. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday, Carla Kemp.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday,
Dear Carla Kemp.
Happy birthday to you. Mark's a bit under the weather today.
I'm
if
not.
you're
I just
wondering.
don't want us to
Because of
go.
his back.
I just.
Darling, stop. I'm not going to. I'm just saying you've got a bad back. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. I've got the message. Everyone hates my singing and I'm ruining
No, not
yours.
everyone does.
And I'm ruining the morning lives.
No, not everyone does. Here's the thing. I think it's about balance.
All right, I'm not going to sing.
No, you can.
Not
Every now and then.
today, not today.
Every now and then it's fine, but it's just like
All
constantly.
right, babe. I'm not going to sing. I've got the message.
That's my
I'm
nutting.
annoying.
No,
I am very
Ellery Jones
annoying.
loves
I know
you singing.
myself.
Marie Pitts, lots of people
I
love
know
you singing.
myself.
It's
I
just
would
about
tell me to
balance.
shut up.
No, babe, it's about balance. It's like
Oh,
the.
all I did was a
it's
little
like-
good shit lollipop, and you were like, "Have you not heard what I have said?
No,
I said no singing."
I'm thinking
It's a
of-
bit extreme.
Hang on, look. There's lots of people now saying they love you singing, and then there are also lots of people who also say, "Can we just cut the singing a bit?" So I'm trying to keep everyone happy here. What do we do? How do we drive it?
Well, I understood that. That's why I did a very, very underplayed good shit lollipop, because a few days ago I probably would have gone on the good ship a lollipop with a sweet trip to the candy shop. I didn't. I did a nice gentle one.
Oh, there you go.
I did almost a hum.
Good ship Lollipop said Nadia can stop singing if Mark stops his innuendos.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
But you thought I wasn't going to read that out, Good Ship
Okay,
Lollipop,
so-
did you?
Thank you. Like last night, you drove me completely insane on that live.
No,
And
but
nothing-
I drove myself insane.
And nothing would stop you. Nothing.
I agree, but I'm not like that all the time.
just don't,
Sorry, just had to
I
flick
just-
off
I just-
Wi-Fi.
I just don't think you're in a position to talk about my annoying habits.
In complete agreement with the fact that I'm as annoying as hell. And I get told by everyone, stop. So I stop for a bit and then I go, and then we do a little quiet coffee moaning, and then I go nuts again. It's about balance, babe.
I'm very balanced.
You are about as balanced as a seesaw with one half of it.
Yes, he's very Richard Madeley, Mara. Very Richard Madeley today. Very Richard.
Nadia, keep singing and buy Mark some. I'm thinking of some of you. I'm not saying it for myself. She can sing all she wants. I'm talking about the numerous subscribers who say, can you not have quite so much singing constantly? I'm trying to represent all sections of the community.
And I agree. So that's why I'm reducing it massively. But now, what are those subscribers that have asked me to stop singing? How do they feel about the 10-minute argument about singing?
How do they feel about the fact that we look like we're down the bottom of a foggy
going
market?
on?
Yeah, what is going on? Hang on, I'm going to try and put you back. Are we back? We're trying to get... that looks better.
That's better.
That looks better. Sarah Taste, Pete's off to work in a minute. Please say hi. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Pete.
Bye, Pete.
Hi, Pete. Would
Bye,
you like me
Pete.
to sing for you, Pete? Oh, you've already gone. Okay.
Is that better? Sorry, we're just trying to get that right. Okay, that was my, okay, for anyone who ever posts, because I see the messages come in quite regularly. So the next time someone says, don't sing, you can hear that most people would like Nadia to sing. Nadia likes to sing. I've tried. And I'll try to be less annoying.
I am going to reduce my singing.
I will reduce my innuendo.
I agree with those subscribers. I think I was singing too much. And I think it was because I was really stressed. So it's not fair.
See, now I feel bad.
It's not fair on the subscribers that I'm taking my stress out on them. Like you last night on the night shift, you were unbelievable. You were so, well, I can't even say words.
I think it was partly because Nutella was involved.
Like an
absolute
3-year-old screaming
I was very
toddler.
excited.
For those of you that missed the night shift last night, well, I was in hysterics last night. Big shift. Because,
the big shift?
Oh, shut up.
What was the night shift?
No,
the
shut up. Because there was the funniest headline in the Daily Express yesterday off the back of me doing a story about Mark. When Mark, I was filming a story about the podcast and Mark did his usual tripping over behind me. So I screamed at him, "You lunatic, I hope you hurt yourself." And he went, "So funny, the headline, wasn't it on the Daily Express yesterday? Search it." Because we were saying, if like you guys know what we're like, but if somebody didn't know us and they read that, they would think I was the most awful person. Because he said, Nadia screams at her husband that he's a lunatic and tells him that she hopes that he's really hurt himself.
I hate myself.
And the funniest picture of Mark like this, looking like a proper lunatic.
Yeah.
Really, check it out.
I hate myself.
It's a Sunday experience.
But here's the thing. I mean, some people say, I loved it. There was one comment come from somewhere the other day. Someone said, "What would the people at the BBC think if they saw your antics on this channel?" And I would say, "Fuck off." That's what I'd say. I'd say there's this idea that's promoted, particularly British idea, that if you can be slapstick, silly, innuendo, and stupid, you somehow can't be intelligent, hardworking, committed, or thoughtful.
This is my thing
bizarre.
At the moment, isn't it?
It's bizarre.
We have to be 360-degree people. I've got this real obsession with this because we've become such a binary nation. Well, world. You're either this or you're that. You're either clever or you're either serious or you're funny. You're either good or you're bad. We're everything. I mean, just now, list 5 things, and you guys, that are terrible about you, and 5 things that... Okay, no, that's too much. 2 things that's wonderful about you and 2 things that's terrible. Go on. Your 2 worst points and your 2 best points.
I don't know when to stop. I'm too extreme, and I'm just everything. Everything about me is annoying.
Yeah.
Too much. I'm too
I'm
much.
a total cow, and I'm a bossy bitch, but I'm also kind and loyal. You know, so somebody might say, "Oh, I thought you were kind. I saw you being a really bossy cow the other day." Yeah, because I'm that as well. I'm all these bloody things. Everybody wants to pigeonhole everybody. And honestly, in our industry, oh my God. Like, it's so... I can just say one thing that's a bit out of line or a bit out of... Like on Loose Women or something, and then it just... Well, not necessarily out of line, that it's just that might be contradictory to something that I've said before, but I contradict myself all the time because I think differently all the time. One week I can really passionately think something, and then I can hear something else or read something else and think in a completely different way.
Well, no, I remember.
Why do we have to stay so rigidly on?
But I remember commissioning editors would literally walk into my edit suite when I was editing stuff with BBC 4, and they would look at me, and because I hadn't been to a private school, because I didn't know Johnny or Megan.
Johnny Bag.
Johnny or Megan who'd been to the same school
Johnny
as the
Bags.
commissioner.
Remember we used to say Johnny Bags?
I'm not making a point. Because I didn't know Johnny or Megan who'd been to the same school. They'd literally look at me like I was kind of...
There's a lot of snobbery.
No. What's it called when I was like I was squatting? It's like they'd look at you and they go, "What the fuck? You're not part. You haven't come through the route that you're supposed to come through." Yeah. And it's...
You're common.
You're common. And yeah, you're common. And, I know a lot of people on it. It's funny, a lot of people on here think I went to private school, all that kind of... It's absolute nonsense. No.
God, you lived in a basement in a cupboard.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you... No, but seriously, you get into these industries and it's really... It's there's all sorts of barriers to all sorts of people.
Eppingston, can we stop the private school bashing? We are not all snobbish idiots at absolutely.
We're not saying that. We're not saying
We
that.
are not saying that for a minute.
What we're saying is there is a ceiling in certain industries where there is an old boys network that exists. You can't pretend it doesn't.
And I absolutely would never say that about all private schools.
Lots of people I know, friends I've worked with, all went to private school and they're great.
Absolutely. And friends of mine now with kids at private school that are gorgeous kids and are having an amazing education. We're absolutely not saying that, but there are a group of people within certain industries of which there is a real clique and a real selfishness. Just is. Just fact. We've come across it ourselves.
Right, I have a bad back, and someone's just asked, I think Leggy Blonde Jen has just asked, where's the fucking labour suit? Where is the labour suit? Because this right now...
Can you stop doing this live on here?
Sorry.
Because it's really annoying.
No, but this is what I imagine my labour is like.
Right,
Is this what labour is like?
When we can get it, we will get it. Stop.
Right.
You can keep throwing me under the bus here.
No, I'm not.
On a live.
I'm not throwing it. I'm just wondering...
Can you show me where we are getting? It's like, oh my God.
It's just that I'm currently feeling
my own personal troll in the kitchen.
I've got my own personal backache, and I'm imagining this is exactly what it's like to be in labour.
No, it's not.
Is it not? Is it worse? Is it worse than this?
No.
Is it worse than this?
Yes.
Claire Yardley Coco, imposter syndrome can affect our ability to have more adventures. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Look at the government for the old boy. Now, just look at all of the increasing number of successful actors. I mean, we were talking about this the other day, that the whole acting industry is just...
Because how can they afford to be actors?
Yeah.
You can only afford to be an actor now if you've got a bloody load of money behind
So
you.
it's not anti-private schools at all. It's about diversity. I mean, it's about having a mix of both different groups. And I just think at the moment, things are tipped in the opposite direction, quite profoundly. My back is really bad, for people who are asking. I'm in a lot of pain. Are you finding that funny? No. Yes, you so are. Have you got nothing to say if you can't sing? Oh, don't be. You're playing passive aggressive now, aren't you? Oh,
passive aggressive. Passive aggressive.
Did anyone see the meme on the Sunday show when they stroked the cat's forehead and it thought it was like its mum's tongue?
You're going to get foundation on your toothbrush now. Or is that my toothbrush?
That's your toothbrush.
But can you not wipe my head with a toothbrush? Right, we're going to get on with the news.
Oh, I didn't think you wanted to. You were sitting there with a great big smile like a Cheshire cat on your face.
Ibuprofen, says Karen R. Mark. Get Voltarol gel, Mark, from the supermarket will help, says Trish York. Sharona says 112 subs now. Plat, plat, plat. Thank you, Sharona, for keep on nagging about that. Hi, Shara Louie. Hi, Sarah Elliott. No exercising today, Mark. Exactly. He had a bad back yesterday and he did Joe Wicks and now he's in agony. Sarah Parsons is sending you a big hug, Mark.
Thank you.
Janice Muir, sing the news, Nadia.
Boris Fiori about the lockdown. Boris Fiori about the lockdown.
That was very deep.
It's furious.
Okay,
It's furious. I don't know what this is. I don't know
I'll
this
tell you
story.
exactly what this is about.
Boris is furious about the lockdown.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, so yesterday in the Sunday show, we talked about how Nadia was actually sharing her thoughts on the fact that Boris doesn't get fair treatment all of the time. So, for example, he did, the whole Marcus Rashford thing. Then he suddenly talks to him, then he gives him some money, and okay, you might argue it's a bit late, but when he does do the thing that everyone's wanted him to do, it's barely reported, no one talks about it, and it's hidden deep within the papers, and I think that's right. I think Boris, there was the leak from the cabinet, and I know you've got some other news on that too, but when the leak happened, it forced him into a quick reaction, didn't it, on Saturday, going into lockdown. Then they had statistics and graphs that they didn't feel were particularly accurate.
Yes.
So the story is that sources
and
are saying...
they've admitted that now, haven't they?
Sources are saying that Boris feels like he was bounced quickly into a lockdown by dodgy data.
Because
the
they're
leak
saying
itself...
1,500 deaths, wasn't it? Was what the projection
No,
was.
4,000 was the projection, and it was more like 1,000.
I read you say 1,500 and now it's 1,000. Well,
worst case was 4,000, but actually the worst case was going to be 1,000. But they also think that the leaking of the information to the press forced his hand, so he ran into a rapid. So he feels that on 2 counts.
Can I just ask why he felt then he had to rush into it? I mean, that in itself doesn't sound like good leadership.
Well, it doesn't, but
And what I would have done is said, listen, something has been leaked. We are in discussions about whether we need to take this next step, wouldn't you? Why would you just go into a lockdown? Because that to me is even more worrying.
Yeah. But I do think, so apparently, you know, my heart went out a little bit to him today because I thought he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. You could argue, and it very much feels like the tier system that's very much identified as his creation, isn't it? It's under his jurisdiction that he came up with this regional approach, was potentially happening. And as someone just said there, Matt Hancock was the leak.
Well, that's what they're suggesting. That's been the route. Of course, we can't know. I mean, I do think I was saying to Mark yesterday, he didn't seem that surprised by it. I said, is it not quite extraordinary that people are, I don't know who they would have been, would they have been police officers? I don't know. Turned up at Michael Gove, Matt Hancock, I presume Rishi Sunak would do it as well, Holmes, knocked on the door and insisted on looking through their phones for all WhatsApp messages and texts. To me, that seems like quite an extraordinary story, but you didn't seem that...
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Really? Well, apparently Matt Hancock was very cross about it. Rumours are. So we'll wait and see. I mean, if Matt Hancock had leaked it, what will happen to Matt Hancock? Will he have to sack him?
Eventually.
Not now,
No.
but he would eventually.
It will happen. It will happen. Louise Jones makes a very fair point. If you start listening to people saying don't sing, then you'll start to listen to it. It's not about listening to everything. It's just about finding balance. It's just about finding balance.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
And I'm going to, just for innuendo's sake, say boobies, boobies. I love a pair of nuts and boobies. The Oliver Masterson, the media jumped the gun that he would make a statement and he couldn't have confused the country. I agree.
Georgina Duffy says, no initiative. He has to have the whole country and half of Parliament yelling common sense at him. He's a populist, people pleaser, no integrity.
Look, I'm not sitting here pretending I'm a Boris fan. What I'm saying is that it's
We are
never
not a Boris fan.
never binary.
Yeah.
You can't come out of this and say every single choice and decision made or every mistake made was brought upon himself. You know, he is trying to, you know, popular opinion does matter. Carrying the country does matter. He hasn't carried the country in many situations, but I think it's about being nuanced. It's about recognising on the few occasions where, you know, credit needs to be given where credit's due, etc., etc. You know, we all agree. I was listening to Keir Starmer on the radio again today. Very reasonable. He was taking some calls from the public on LBC, and like he said we had a perfect opportunity to half term to sort of exploit the fact that, you know, we don't want kids not going to school. We don't want. I mean, I do think the language still is too dramatic of a lost generation. Though we are talking about, and it's important to remember this, about children, vulnerable children. They keep stressing
always say that straight after us. What we've got to remember is that there are thousands, or if not millions, of children, not necessarily that are in terribly abusive homes, but would be very unhappy all day long, you know, absolutely. And we can't forget them, and that's why they. And
it's easy to lose sight of the fact, especially as homeschoolers, that, you know, we're middle class and it's easy enough for us, but it's not easy enough. So we recognise that, and we're going to talk about that, I think, on Instagram, aren't we, later?
We're doing a live tonight, 8 o'clock on Instagram, guys.
Yeah, all about homeschooling. Now, so Boris is cross about lockdown, but he's not going to fire Matt Hancock now, but there will be a cabinet reshuffle for sure when we come out of this crisis. Eventually.
Lots of people asking what we think of the Martin Bashir Princess Diana story. We talked about this actually yesterday in the No Name Sunday show. It's quite a story.
It's quite complicated. I just think it's
going to run and run.
It's quite complicated, isn't it? I mean, there's a horrible big fat.
Well, basically, there are accusations that Martin Bashir made up stories to Princess Diana about courtiers, about Prince Charles, about all sorts of other things to get her into such a state of revenge and fear that she would do the interview. Those are the allegations at the moment. And there was a picture in the paper yesterday because Martin Bashir, when he was asked by the paper if there was anything he wanted to say, he had said, I'm too ill to comment, because he's had a heart operation, hasn't he? And he had COVID complications, and then they photographed him walking down the road swinging a takeaway. So, yeah.
I have never recovered from Martin Bashir appearing on Celebrity X Factor.
Yeah, I think the papers are after him. Whether it's true or not, who can know? But the Earl of Spencer is also saying that there is truth in it, and that he'd been excluded from the BBC investigation. So it's a mucky old tale. I mean, I think the inference is that, you know, it was catastrophic, obviously, for Diana, because a couple of days after she did that interview, the Queen insisted that her and Prince Charles were to divorce. So the inference is that if that hadn't happened, if she hadn't done the interview, the Queen wouldn't have demanded their divorce. She would have stayed with Charles. She would have made her own way. They would have found some way to live together. She wouldn't have met Dodie. She wouldn't have been in the car, and so it goes on. So these are all. This is the story. But it's. I mean, it was on the news last night. I think it's just going to go on and on, this story. I mean, I feel sorry for Martin Bashir if none of this is true, because my God, it will follow him forever. But if it is true, then my God, he needs to be held to account.
But can I make a suggestion?
Because that's real manipulative journalism going on, which we've all been on the end of.
But I was going to just say, this was also at a time when perhaps the most manipulative journalism was at its peak. Absolutely. So for me, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me at all. You know, journalists back then would use any sort of methods. So a warm winter is coming. We walked the dogs early this morning, and it was like it was hot. It was hot in the park.
It is hot.
And the reason I've got this in the title is because they're talking about an Indian summer, and I think this is really good news, because
it's good news for the virus.
It's good news for the virus. I mean, obviously no one's allowed to socialise, so it's not about whether we can socialise, but it does mean that windows will be open more without it being cold and all that kind of stuff.
But let's face it, a lot of people, like people say all the time here, everyone they know is bending the rules and is socialising and doing all of that. So if the weather is good, I mean, we went to the park the other day and there were lots of people sat outside in the park drinking wine, eating cheese, Now, if the weather wasn't if the weather wasn't nice, they'd probably be in their homes doing that. So it is good.
Bobby Ward, Mark, Mad Hatter's tea party for your 50th. That'd be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Now, I wanted to talk about Prince Harry because we talked about Remembrance Day yesterday, and it was a very important day for us. We talked a lot on our Coffee Moaning, didn't we, about grandparents and remembering everyone who's fought for our country and all that sort of stuff. But of course, it was notable for the fact that Prince Harry wasn't there. And I sort of made a throwaway comment saying, I feel it's kind of strange that he isn't there.
But I suppose with COVID, they can't.
But with COVID and everything else, perhaps. And so a part of me was a bit sort of defensive. And then I've seen this morning Piers Morgan has had a crack at Prince Harry for laying a wreath in a distasteful PR stunt. And apparently...
How do you know it's a PR stunt?
Well, because the major issue is that they had to employ a photographer. There was a photographer there to take a photograph of them doing it. And I think Susanna Reid, actually, her comeback was fair. She said they'll have done that because if they hadn't, no one would have known. And then damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I'm trying to get this fly, which is really driving me.
I feel sorry for Prince Harry. God, the one thing we know is Prince Harry has worked tirelessly for the troops, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does his
was 10 years
Invictus
in the army,
games,
wasn't he?
he does his Invictus games, all of that sort of stuff. And he will have felt desperately homesick, I think, on Sunday, and will have wanted to have been there. And I just think, again, it's just this atmosphere of everyone pointing the finger at everyone else and having a pop. It's just like...
Why has Piers Morgan got a particular thing with Prince Harry and Meghan?
Just everyone, isn't it? He's the guy that does everything right and everyone else is wrong. That's Piers' vibe, isn't it? He's the one that tells everybody else how to behave. Because he's blameless and everything. He's lived a totally perfect life.
That's interesting. Harry and Meghan laid a wreath at the Los Angeles National Cemetery with a message to all of those who have served and are serving, thank you. Piers slammed it as a distasteful PR stunt.
Stuck in his gullet.
Because if you don't do it with a photographer, no one... Susanna said, if you don't do it with a photographer, no one will know what you've done.
Exactly, and he will be doing this. This will be important to the troops, seeing that he did that. I just think it's grossly unfair to have a go at him about it.
Yeah, I think that's unfair. It's important to state that Wales has come out of its fire. Was it firebreaker? What are they called? Fire starter, circuit breaker. I'm a fire starter. Oh no, we're singing.
Just a fire starter.
So yeah, Wales is coming out now. I looked.
Yes, what is the latest on Prince Andrew, Sean Thomas? Because he wasn't
there either. No. But the important thing about Wales, I looked at the current restrictions for Wales coming out, and they're still pretty restrictive. I mean, you can only meet with one other household. You can't meet in the same house. You can't go. There's a lot you can't do in Wales.
You can't go into a house.
I think you've got one bubble, one other household that you can meet.
So it's like a tier 3.
It's like a tier 3. So again, the idea that, we've got to moderate our sort of ambitions and feelings about coming out of these restrictions, because we might come out of this lockdown and go straight into tier 3, which isn't particularly free.
Oh, look at this. Who's that? Both holiday homes next to me had people in them this weekend. This lockdown is a joke.
Where was that? You see it?
No.
Sam JP, Mark, you know the scene on Guardians of the Galaxy where Drax is stabbing his way out of the weird alien stomach? That's not a patch on Labour. Christ. Okay, well, that's a very vivid image I can really relate to. So thank you for that one, Sam JP. Harry wasn't allowed to leave a wreath for Remembrance Day yesterday. I think Harry should have been allowed. Yeah, and I heard that he had a wreath that was at the British Legion and it wasn't taken.
Who?
Harry had a wreath to be laid on his behalf here, and it wasn't taken or laid.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently it stayed at the British Legion.
Oh.
That's curious, isn't it? I wonder who was responsible. I don't know whether, Deliveroo didn't pick it up or whatever, but I saw that he did. So he had actually made a gesture in absentia. That's my Latin, for those of you who didn't know. I don't speak Latin, really. It's disgusting that Harry wasn't there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Well,
what does everyone think about that? Do you think that he should have come? I mean, bearing in mind that he could have, it could have gone the other way, that he could have come and everyone would have said, that's, unnecessary travel at a time of a pandemic.
Everyone would,
I think people would.
You know what Piers would have been screaming then, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
Why aren't you in quarantine? I mean, it's literally...
We're in lockdown. Why are you flying in lockdown?
Yeah, where was Andrew?
Well, Andrew, they're just keeping him very on the down low, aren't they? Yeah.
COVID is going crazy in America, and I think Biden is trying to get his COVID recovery team in action, and he can't because he can't get the keys to the Beamer.
Because they won't. They won't let him in.
They won't let him in the
car.
car.
It could get to the point where they bloody having to throw him out.
Someone said on the news, it's like having bought a house but no one's giving you the keys.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a transition period. I read somewhere that someone said they think Trump is going to leave the White House in the next month.
Oh, Sarah Robinson says only working members of the family are allowed to lay wreaths.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, well, there you go. That clarifies it. Apparently, the rumour mill is he'll leave the White House in the next month. He's going to go down to his pad in Florida.
This is what you think?
No, this is what sources are saying.
Uh-huh.
And when the inauguration happens, he's not going to be there and he's not going to go there. Drugs firm Pfizer says new vaccine more than 90% effective in preventing disease.
Oh, wow, that just come in.
That's massive news.
Wow.
Pfizer comes through with a vaccine. It's just broken, literally, is it on the BBC News?
Thing is, in America, they've got a lot of mink farms. I didn't realise they
First
had mink farms.
COVID vaccine. First vaccine.
Wow.
The first coronavirus vaccine can prevent more than 90% of people from getting COVID-19, a preliminary analysis shows. The developers, Pfizer, described it as a great day for science and humanity.
Oh my God.
This is massive.
Oh my God, I
Their
feel
vaccine has been
emotional.
tested on 43,500 people in 6 countries and no safety concerns have been raised.
Oh my God.
The companies plan to apply for emergency approval to use the vaccine by the end of the month. There are around a dozen vaccines that have reached the final stages of testing, but this is the first to show any results. It uses a completely experimental approach that involves injecting part of the virus's genetic code in order to train the immune system. 2 doses are needed, 3 weeks apart, and the pharmaceutical companies say people are protected a week after the second dose. It's been trialled in the US, Germany, Brazil, Argentina.
Wow.
Pfizer believes it will be able to supply 50
South Africa and Turkey.
50 million doses by the end of the year and around 1.3 billion by the end of 2021. Pfizer have a 90% effective vaccine.
What do you think? Is this because you never get excited about vaccines?
I think that's phenomenal. It wouldn't be breaking in this fashion. Pfizer, I mean, that's massive news. That is an enormous game changer. And it happened whilst we're on air with you guys.
Oh my God. Really? What, really?
Well,
Really?
I mean, the next question is getting people to take it up. Because okay, now you've heard that, would any of you take the vaccine? Yes or no? How do they know it's 90% effective in the long term, Gabrielle? Look, still a lot of people saying
Well, they
no.
might not know in the long term, but it might be, neither is the flu vaccine. Don't forget we have to have the flu vaccine every year. So I think we shouldn't get too caught up with that. I mean, there aren't many vaccines that last your whole lifetime. So,
Look, I'd say.
I'm going to ask my friend.
I'd say 2/3 of people are saying yes, a third saying no, they wouldn't take it.
I'm going to ask my friend Hannah.
Trials haven't
Because
been long enough.
she works. But she
Rachel
works
says trials haven't been long enough. Surely, what about in pregnancy? It's got to be a step and a move in the right direction.
It's got to be. It's got to be good news, guys. I mean, it's got to be.
I mean, a lot of people saying they won't take it.
Practically everyone at work says they'd take it.
So interesting. So
What does Holly say? Where's Holly?
Yeah, where is Holly? I haven't heard from Holly in ages.
She's studying hard now. She's looking to be a doctor, isn't she?
If needed to travel, yes. So 1.2 billion vaccines by the end of 2021. It's the
Is there
kind.
any other news on it?
No, it's breaking news now. So this is the kind of news that you want to be able to equip most youngsters with, because you need to give them light at the end of the tunnel.
You do. You do.
So this is great news.
Tell it to your kids in a really positive way to give them some sort of hope.
So there you go. So 90%, and that happened whilst we were all talking to you guys.
Wow,
that's quite
now,
something,
if Mark's
isn't it?
excited about that, that must mean it's good, because you don't get excited.
Well, no, because there've been so
what
many
is it
stories.
different about that story breaking?
Because a company like Pfizer is not going to come out and state this sentence because they're a listed financial company, they're not going to state this. A great day for science and humanity. That is an enormous statement.
I've got goosebumps.
That is an enormous statement.
I've literally got goosebumps.
And okay, you've got all of the issues around big pharma and all that kind of stuff and all that kind of malarkey, but actually, let's just for a moment choose to think that this could be just a humanitarian moment.
Yeah.
Where the finances of private pharmaceuticals does something for the better good of the world. I don't know. Let's just choose to think that. You could get into all the politics of big pharma, but you know.
Oh, I can't wait to hear John Campbell tonight.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
He's very cross about minks. Very cross.
So let's follow that news. I mean, yes, there's that story, but let's not think about the minks, just for now. Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. What about the 90% work from home? Well, a new study or a new poll has today, or over the weekend, has shown that a staggering number of people would rather work from home. It's something like 90% of people would rather work from home for the majority of their week than
not surprised.
Than go back to work. And I think the main reason for this is because of the savings most people are making on travel, transport, and stuff like food. All of those expenses that you just don't. Yeah, coffees and all that. So I think. Again, I suppose if a vaccine comes in riding in on a white horse and it just completely changes the landscape, we will all return back to. But a genie of sorts has been let out of the bottle.
People have tasted freedom.
People have also tasted value for money.
Yeah.
In terms of their
Taylor
earnings.
says she'd like to do 50-50. She quite likes working at home.
Yeah, exactly. And also,
but why can't companies be more flexible with
I think you're going to find most companies will be more flexible.
Yeah.
And I think
But
most of them.
also, it's the companies that are saving money on the offices as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But most of them will not probably champion it or promote it or shout it out to the world, because they don't want the government to kind of slap them back like they did the last time. I think companies will just gradually allow it to happen. And of course, this is only for sort of office-based work. The vast majority of jobs, a huge number of jobs, require you to be on site physical. If we're filming, you've got to be out. You can't be in an office. So there's lots of jobs that you have to do. So there you go. Huge appetite to life, quality of life, work-life balance. I think that's what you can see.
Ollie lost her job. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so many people haven't they? Jesus, I mean, maybe, but you see, if this really is, and I know there's all the caveats around it, but this really could set the world back on its feet, please God.
Yeah, let's hope.
Listen, guys, we're around quite a lot today because we're doing a live tonight again. So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we're live.
And Nads will be singing later. Should we just sing?
We did a late night snack last night and it was really, really naughty. And so tonight we're going to do a healthier late night snack.
Yeah.
So there'll be a bit of cooking and maybe Mark will make the late night snack.
Maybe.
Depending on his back.
But I promise there'll be maximum innuendo and a lot of singing. So if you don't fancy that.
There might not be. I might not feel like singing.
I'm going to sing.
But also, oh my God, there's so much going on with us today. We'll keep you company all day. 8 o'clock tonight, we're doing a live on Instagram. And actually, I've put it up on my story. So if there's any questions, please go to my stories and pump them in now. So, and then say if you want to be anonymous or not, because we want to read out as many questions as we can. And also, we're watching The Undoing tonight
yes,
at
of
9
course.
o'clock. So don't forget
Episode
to join
3.
us straight afterwards for our live review. Bloody hell, we're busy today.
Well,
And
there
we've
you
got to
go.
do that cooking.
I've got
as
to get in
well.
there and do some writing. Okay, guys, lots of love. See you
Later.
later.
Bye.